Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Broke on advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the deck, you're not bullish enough. Traded in the sex, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recon. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity, flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. EYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recaps and I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, chen. Yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the spec. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin, crypto ecosystems. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We are live for the OnChain Hour, and this one is going to be absolutely awesome, guys, because today we have a Bitcoin focused show. I know the last couple of days we were kind of checking out different things, but today we're going back to our roots. We're going to be checking out Bitcoin DeFi. I actually found a couple amazing projects, guys. I want to show you guys super early. I mean, these things ain't even live yet. Been looking at them and playing with them, and really want to bring them to you guys today so you guys can do your due diligence as well. But today is April 30th, which means today is the last day of April, which means tomorrow is May 1st. What comes with May 1st? A new dot on the stock to flow. My favorite chart to look at, right? That chart is actually saying we're going to hit potentially 700K by the end of next year. So we will see. We will see what that happens. But I'm feeling bullish, guys, even though the market's not looking good. So today we had, a negative GDP for Q1 of this year, the first one, right? So it takes two negative GDP numbers in a row to say recession. So now we have a lot of people, especially in stocks, screaming recession. But you don't really know you're in a recession until the recession's like over or almost done, right? Because by the time you get to negative GDP reports, it's, you're already over. So I'm not worried about that at all. I'm not really worried about anything right now. I'm really bullish. The M2 money supply, people are printing. And what happens during a recession? They print more money. All right. What happens with Bitcoin when they print more money? Bitcoin goes up. So I'm not worried about it at all. Bitcoin back to 94,000. Everything else is kind of dripping now. We got Ethereum down 1.8%. Tau down 4%, and you have things like virtuals down 2%. But a lot of these things have ran for a couple weeks now, and I'm kind of getting the idea of everything kind of wants to settle for the monthly close, which is in about 8 hours from right now. We will see what those numbers look like and talk about them tomorrow. But we have a full show here ready to rock, guys. So without further ado, let's bring in my partner here as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
What's going on, man? So again, yeah, I want to hit on it real quick. Yesterday, I had some audio issues, but man, after the show yesterday, my man Yagobi came in and fixed them up, and I appreciate you, my friend. How are you feeling with the markets right now? How are you feeling about everything that is happening on this negative GDP quarter report?
I feel fine. I feel great.
Yeah.
You know, yes, the report came out. We were negative for the first quarter, but I think most people expected that, right? Growth to kind of stifle and stall out with all the tariff news and all that stuff. But you have to remember, Bitcoin has shown strength through this, through the headlines, I would say, for the past month and a half, right? Obviously, last week was really bullish for Bitcoin because everybody's talking about the catalysts that are coming up, M2 money supply, possibly the Fed getting on the same page as the administration and starting to loosen a bit. But look, we took a big dip today, but you have to remember, you know, that May 1st is really the kind of the date that people have been kind of putting, you know, that mark on their calendar of when things should really start to get hyper aggressive, right? And we already started that first leg last week. So little pullback here, fine, in my opinion. It's an opportunity for market makers, centralized exchanges to liquidate, hit stop losses, stuff like that. Remember, that's always going to happen, guys. So don't get it just carried away with the greed energy there, because I promise you, you know, they will hit your stop losses. They will liquidate you if you get too carried away and careless. But I'm fine. I feel like we're in a good spot. Little pullback today. I expect us to kind of get back on the saddle, you know, later today, possibly tomorrow. But you're right. The Friday of the last week of the month typically is kind of the options, right? Like we need to make sure the big boys want to make sure that the option situation is taken care of. But yeah, I'm still excited. Nothing changed for me.
Yeah, man, 100%. Well, let's dig in a little deeper here. So it's the last day of April is here. Let's look at Plan B, right? So we're gonna get a new dot tomorrow. My favorite day of the month is the first because I get to, one, pay my mortgage, and two, I get to you know, see a new red dot on here. So what are you thinking? It's looking like we're seeing a quarter of 14+%. So we are seeing this next dot here to be a little higher. What are you thinking, man? What do you how you feel about this number, 14% in April?
I feel pretty good about it. That's something that you and I talked about last month.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, look, when was the last time there was 3 consecutive red months in a row? Most likely it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But if it does, it won't happen. We're like 99% sure it won't happen in May. So, you know, the expectation of May is, in my opinion, bigger than what the expectation of April was. April was more of like, okay, we got to bounce back. There was some little bit of catalyst there, but then we had a great third week of April, right? Going from 82 to 90, and then where we were yesterday at 95K, right? So this is fine. You know, I wouldn't be shocked if we, you know, finished even a little higher than that. Like, let's say that, like, you know, after the options start to settle on Friday. Is Friday the actual? Today's the last day of the month.
No, well, yeah, today's the last day of the month. Yeah, so today is Wednesday. So the options for the month of April have kind of I think already expired. I think they actually might expire today. So you can do monthly options as well. So I think that's what you're
Well, yeah, so that was probably last Friday then. So you know, we'll see what happens here. This is probably a good target then. Today's the last day. Dang,
Yeah.
man, time's like really running by right now.
Dude, I know. I was just talking to my wife. The kid's got 6 more weeks of school left before the summer, and it's like it's crazy, dude. It's crazy how fast this last year went, man. It's absolutely insane. But let's move along here. So, the news of the day, the news that every channel is going to be talking about is this next thing here. So this is Coinbase. Bitcoin-backed loans are now fully rolled out to all U.S. users except New York, because New York sucks. Sorry, New Yorkers, but you can instantly borrow up to $1 million in USDC on Coinbase. So this is pretty massive. Anyone with Bitcoin now no longer has to sell it. You can take your Bitcoin to Coinbase, deposit it on Coinbase, which is probably the safest place to deposit your Bitcoin, because that's where Sailor holds his Bitcoin. That's where BlackRock holds their Bitcoin, right? So you're putting your Bitcoin with theirs, and you're taking out a loan. Right now the biggest loan you can take out is, I think it's like probably 20 Bitcoin to get $1 million. Yeah. But it's probably like, I was thinking in terms of, because it's like 50%. You can take a loan out up to 50% on that. So if you put 20 Bitcoin in, you potentially can take out $1 million loan. Pretty massive. But this is in the US, one. And two, they basically are the new BlockFi Celsius. But you know, Coinbase has never really messed up. So they definitely have that on them. But how do you feel about this?
Extremely bullish. Extremely bullish because to me, this is there's no bigger statement up to date in terms of trust of the asset, right? I mean, a million. I mean, obviously, you could borrow large amounts with Bitcoin before, but this is an institution that is publicly traded on the stock market. You know, the largest brand and sex brand in our industry. You know, custodian of the largest holders and players. So we were talking a little bit about how people were the old money that decided to, and there's still a lot of old money left that haven't come over here yet. Just to keep in mind, guys, some of them are still playing with gold, but the ones that are good at the real estate game, right? They're trying to figure out, okay, you know, how can we, you know, leverage our Bitcoin in a similar way, right? Well, here you go. This is one way to start, right? Obviously, you got to know the terms. They're going to try to get the best situation. People like that with that kind of big money, they're going to make sure they get the cheapest loans, those kind of things. But this is a great start in terms of offerings, right? And this looks like it's open to, you know, anybody pretty much, because you can go, you know, $1,000 or, you know, 100,000 to a million. So it's going to be interesting. And I think when we first start to see mortgage and stuff like that, or like, you know, people actually getting into some weird new products like that where it merges, that's whenever we know, okay, the game has started. I mean, the game's already started, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You know, I saw someone tweet, quote this, and they said, you know, it's not a bull run until you can take out a loan against your Bitcoin, right? I mean, that's what happened with BlockFi and Celsius last cycle. So again, this is something really cool. But you know, one big thing with Coinbase now being, you know, taking on these, you know, you're able to deposit your Bitcoin, you're able to take a loan out on it. So on Monday, they actually came out and they said, we're going to offer 2 to 4% yield on your Bitcoin. You can go stake your Bitcoin. We talked about this on Monday. And my one question was, where the hell is the yield coming from? Now we're kind of seeing that option. We're kind of seeing where it's going to come from. So when you, Yagobi, when you go to Coinbase and let's just say you take out a $50,000 loan against, you know, $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, they're going to be like, all right, well, you got to pay back, you know, 55,000, right? And you're gonna be like, oh, cool, like whatever, that's fine. Like I'm taking a $50,000 loan out. I'm cool with paying, you know, that what I think would be like 10% or like 10% of the loan amount, right? That's what kind of what BlockFi and Celsius was doing. That's kind of where I got that number from. I don't know what that number is going to be for these guys, but now that money, that extra 5,000 that you just took, that'll go to people who are actually staking their Bitcoin as yield. So this is all good for Bitcoin. Because not only are you locking your Bitcoin up when you do this, but then you're giving someone else yield for your loan.
It is good for Bitcoin. I think that the market's going to get more and more competitive, though. And, you know, so 5%, you know, earning 5%, or sorry, earning 2 to 4%, to me, I don't think that's tasty enough right now. But like, hey, look, I don't know what the earnings are right now, right? But like, also the interest paid, they're gonna have to look at it something like this, right? Like, let's say you have Bitcoin, you don't want to spend your Bitcoin, but you want to buy a house or you want to buy a car or something like that, right? Then you're gonna take a loan out against it. It has to be comparable, like better, in my opinion, than TradFi's offerings, right? But I do think TradFi comes into this game. I think they start to do like, okay, we're going to offer Bitcoin-backed loans as well. It's actually safer for, in my opinion, for the institutions now, because like Bitcoin's established, there's nation states involved, versus instead of doing the traditional credit check, now it's like you can use Bitcoin collateral to back it. But we're going into a new world here, right? With this kind of dynamic, you know, for the people that did believe in Bitcoin, or, you know, they're going to be able to benefit, I think, early. It's just how are the rates going to compare to like what we're used to in traditional finance? And that's what I think is going to be the most interesting thing.
I think you're missing one thing, though. Let's just say you hold Bitcoin. In order to buy that car, right, you might potentially have to sell that Bitcoin. Right? Let's just say you need a down payment for that car, for that loan. You got to sell that. So you got to sell that Bitcoin, and potentially, you know, you're selling an asset that's going to go up forever. this is giving you the option to, let's just say, you do still do the TradFi loan, but at least maybe take out, $10,000 of your Bitcoin in cash to put down to get a better finance rate, right? So it doesn't have to be the entire loan that you're getting for your car or for your home, but it can help you with the down payment aspect of it too. And let's just say you don't ever want to sell your Bitcoin. This is how you're going to live. Let's just say you have 10, 20 Bitcoin and you want to live off 100K a year, right? So potentially you have ways to make money, but you take that out every year, and then you just pay it back throughout the year, and potentially you're just kind of like front running yourself the money, and you're able to just constantly pay back that loan. But your Bitcoin sits safe. Your Bitcoin's sitting there safely in Coinbase, because like think of the people who I call level 1 crypto users. Their Bitcoin's already there. It's already sitting there, right? Why not get to 2 to 4%?
Yeah, for sure. Especially if they're going to save it and not sell it. But you made a good point. Like you can use some of your Bitcoin for a down payment. But even outside of that, like there might be a new kind of way to get better rates outside of just credit check, right? Let's say that you put collateral down $20,000 of Bitcoin. Now you brought your rate down from 8% for your loan to 6.5 or something like that. There's a lot of things that they can do to increase that trust factor that you're going to pay it back. Because at the end of the day, like Bitcoin shoots up over time. If you zoom out, I think it's no longer like this volatile asset, because you look from the beginning to where we are now, it's up only, right? And I think that these institutions and banks and stuff, they're seeing that. They're like, hold on a second, Bitcoin is not really volatile. If you think about it in the way they think, they're trying to sell you 30-year mortgage rates, so they always think long-term anyways. So for them, I think they look at Bitcoin as like attractive, like a very attractive asset, because they're already thinking 30 years out anyways. So I don't know. I think we got the ball in our court as we're early here, but you got to still learn how to play the game here, because there's going to be a little bit of game of, gamifying stuff. Yes, you're here early. You have the advantage. You have the knowledge. You have the assets. But how can you benefit from that? And it feels good to be in that position to where the rich get richer, right? Like they can continually use their assets to get more capital and do more stuff with it.
Yeah, and then you got really rich guys looking, it's like, do I really want to buy real estate where I got to put a new toilet in there, I got to fix the front, or I can just buy Bitcoin and get the same amount of leverage, right? That's the big thing. These guys want to get leverage. They want to leverage their assets in a safe way. And maybe real estate kind of suffers, which is good though, because then you see a lot less open houses, right? You see a lot less like these houses that are just vacant because these rich guy just owns them, and actually can get real people in those houses, and those billionaires can actually just go into Bitcoin and do something pretty much the same thing. So it's a win-win, and it locks up the Bitcoin, right? It locks up the Bitcoin. You can't sell it. It's there.
100%. It actually just gives you an additional tool, right? You put the Bitcoin as collateral, you take the loan, you get the real estate, you flip the real estate. Instead of you're thinking of flipping now at this point, and then rinse and repeat. Obviously, you got to have a good strategy for that, but it just gives you more power and another tool in your tool set.
100%, man. 100%. Next thing here, President Trump's Truth Social explores launching its own crypto token and wallet. So Truth Social, they're coming in crypto hard. I mean, they got to do something, right? They're not competing with X. No one's using it. Only people that downloaded the Truth Social app is to kind of see, want to front run Trump's tweets, right? They want to get the tweets before everyone else because he says crazy stuff that could tank the markets or pump the markets. But Truth Social needs to do something. They are a publicly traded stock. A DJT is the ticker, and they need to do something. And it looks like Trump's all in on crypto. It looks like Trump's he's no longer a real estate guy. He's a crypto guy now.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they still have their real estate portfolios and all that stuff, but like with the crypto side, it does seem like they are going all in here. I think this is going to leave a little bit of a bad taste in some people's mouths, especially the people that are, holding Trump token, but they got to realize that, hey, like that's always been a meme from the jump. World Liberty Fi is completely separate, like more of a portfolio utility style, like index thing. Yes, they're going to have a token for that. But like the third token for Truth Social, at least there is like a legitimate social platform here. Now, do I think they need to keep doing this with new products? Probably not, or at least like get an entity that's like, okay, that's under there and just not necessarily announced this is like Trump associated all the time, because eventually you are going to get burnt out. That people are going to get burnt out of this. Like, constantly launching a new token for a new product isn't a good look. But
There's 3 tokens.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like we come at like other projects, with multiple tokens. We're like, yeah, like what are you doing? Why do you have so many tokens? But but Trump's doing it. But it's you can just tell these guys are new at what they're doing, right? These guys are new to crypto and they don't understand that like we don't see value in projects with multiple tokens. It's just we always like look at it differently, but they're 3 separate companies, 3 separate tokens. I don't know, man. I don't know what the
so the only thing I think that like people would be like okay with the situation is showing revenue, right? So if True Social is making a certain amount of revenue right now to where they can show their books, I think some people will be okay with that, especially if there's going to be this whole transformation and movement of traditional finance shifting over to digital assets, right? And we already know BlackRock's working on a stock exchange that's going to be really focused on digital assets, competing with the New York Stock Exchange. That's where I think like if this Trump group or they decide to do this, they got to be able to show backing in terms of like revenue, stuff like that, because they have their meme coin. We know that doesn't do that.
Yeah,
they have World Liberty Fi, which actually can develop revenue and stuff like that, with consulting and all types of stuff. And then they have True Social, which is a social media platform, which can also show revenue, advertising, stuff like that. But for them to not be able to show those things and continue to launch coins is not good, in my opinion.
100%. And the I do see a route for them to have a token, which would be the Coinbase route. We do know the base stock is actually going to be a coin. They're going to tokenize the stock on base. You could do that here. I mean, you can tokenize DJT, and that could be the token. But I hope they go that route. I don't want to see another coin. So, and they already have a stock. Like, what do you need a token for if you have a stock? Like, I don't know, but we'll see. Moving along here, FIFA announces plans to launch a new EVM-compatible blockchain and migrate its FIFA Collect platform. So FIFA Collect is a way to you guys can go basically get cards and different things from that FIFA offers, all FIFA backed, right? It's the main, it's like the NFL backed, some products. So it's just really cool, but they're going to EVM route. They're going to potentially be a Ethereum L2. We talked about this, right? It's really easy to run up an Ethereum L2 because you don't need validators. You kind of just use Optimism or one of the other ones, right? They're validators, and you kind of roll real quickly. Same thing that Coinbase did. The same thing that you saw with Sony. So we're going to see more and more of this. But FIFA, the first sports franchise or the first sports company
league
actually do this. Yeah, league.
Yeah, and this is big. This is big because if you remember last cycle, a lot of these companies, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, but some of the companies were like dipping their toe, remember?
Yeah.
Whether it was Facebook trying to figure out how they can get in. But it was all hype driven through last cycle when everything was going crazy. They wanted to be a part of it. Yeah. This is different because, yes, Bitcoin is going up, but the alts aren't going crazy. This is more of like infrastructure laydown, which to me is huge bullish indicator, right? So you got the Sonium, you got FIFA now, and people that are just like constantly like, beating ETH up all day. There's another branded, multi-billion-dollar type of brand that's dropping an EVM chain, right?
Yeah.
I imagine the Ethereum Foundation saying, how do we make sure this is all tying back to layer 1? That's where they win, right? If that happens. So I think this is really big. How does the products look? Last cycle, a lot of these companies kind of, like I said, one toe in, the rest out, but they didn't have that regulation support and stuff to really continue. So it was like, you can't really build something great whenever you're not fully in and you're scared. Now people aren't scared anymore and they're starting to get fully in. So this to me is bullish indicator.
For sure. And they're putting, cards and all these different type of NFTs on the blockchain, right? So this is awesome. And potentially it's like, hey, well, why would we give, why would we do this on any chain? Why don't we do it ourselves? And this is what we're going to see. But down the line, you're not even going to notice that you're using FIFA blockchain or Sony blockchain. You just know you're doing things on chain. That's what's going to come down to. But that's why I think ETH's so undervalued, man. because like ETH has the same thing that kind of Bitcoin has going forward. It's like one of the longest trusted DeFi chains. I mean, it has DeFi since 2017. Like some projects were being built and put out back then. A lot of it was trash back then, but in 2020 it really showed you that the building really occurred. And but yeah, now you're seeing FIFA collect, potentially have a thing. Dude, you're gonna see WWE, you're gonna see all these platforms have their own blockchain, and they're probably all gonna be EVM compatible, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's where the head start, the first is first kind of advantage here, right? The EVM stuff. I mean, Bitcoin's now trying to lay its foundation for infra, but this happened last cycle, so it's easier, like you said, for these guys to spin up. But once you are able to connect, like you see Merlin Chain EVM compatible, connect with the UTXO side and stuff like that, it all connects together. So
100%. This next thing is actually pretty cool. So this is an image of the Sui top guy, I guess Sui CEO, and he has a thing here. It's called Sui Play, and it looks like a PSP or whatever it was called back then, PlayStation Portable. It kind of looks like a Nintendo Switch type of model. And yeah, they're gonna be launching this soon, and it's gonna have a Sui compatible wallet, very similar to what the Bitcoin team's doing with the Game Boy. You know what I mean? But this is actually gonna the BitBoy, yeah. But that BitBoy is like it's old school games, right? It's like in Super Mario style games. Well, this is more of a you can play Fortnite on this thing and so on and so on. But they're actually going to be launching a whole bunch of games projects for this, and the tokens, they're going to have tokens. You're going to be able to do everything you're doing with your mobile phone on this device. And it is another device for you to have, and it seems pretty cool. And when I did see this, I was like, oh wow, maybe the Pokemon rumors are true.
Yeah, right. And I'm okay with them being true on Sui, because Sui is a big brand. This cycle we've already talked about that, and I just hope that this isn't one of those Solana phone kind of situations, and like what I mean. I mean, look, I don't have Solana phone. I don't know anybody that has one, but do I see them being used more and more frequently? Not right now. If I start to see them become more popular, then that might change. I mean, there could be an opportunity because with all the whole like manufacturing with Apple and all that stuff. But for now, there hasn't been a device that's come out of crypto that's really just gone absolutely crazy mainstream wise, right?
Yeah.
So this has an opportunity if there's some good games here, and if there's where it makes sense, it has to be lead all to back to convenience, right? Can they do crypto stuff on here conveniently? Is it easier? Is it a good user experience? We'll see.
Yeah, 100%. And but this is just the beginning, right? And real quick with the Solana phone is a phone. You're not gonna walk around with two phones, but with a Sui Play here, right? It's different because I have like 10 devices in my house that are like this. Like we have a Nintendo Switch, Nintendo, like the older ones, right? Like we have a whole bunch of these things. I even have my old PSP, right? Just kind of probably in the garage somewhere. But this is really cool because it's a gaming system, and potentially it's going to be. Let's be real. This is a crypto product. The only people playing this are crypto native guys, right? But that's today, that's tomorrow, that's this year. What happens in 4 years from now? When the kids these days are kind of like, oh wow, I can make money doing this, and then potentially the next PlayStation Portable has a built-in wallet with the Sony chain, right? So I mean, this is just the beginning of something truly special, and these guys are kind of pioneering that.
Yeah, I can see something like this working if like Sui has contracts with Nintendo, PlayStation, multiple different like things, and says, okay, look, we're gonna use Wi-Fi, have a database that maybe like the games on their blockchain or something, to where they can just play any game they want or something like that. Something to make it different. I know they have those cheap kind of gaming consoles like on TikTok to where like you can play any game on here or whatever. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what this ends up being.
For sure. All right. Let's get into that Bitcoin fear and greed here. So I was not prepared for this. My bad. But yeah, so we use the Binance fear and greed. So last week was a 72. Yesterday was a 60. Today we're a little lower than that 60 number, but still very neutral. What do you think it is?
Yesterday was at 60?
Yesterday was a 60. Last week was a 72. We're a little under the 60.
Oh, so I say 58.
pretty close. We are
Okay.
56. So we are sitting there at 56. Very neutral. I mean, this is very fair. We can't go up to 72 without a little bit of pullback, even on the fear and greed. But I do see us back in the 70s next week. I think next week's gonna be very bullish, especially with the what we have on Wednesday, March 7th, which is the FOMC meeting. So I'm getting really bullish on this for sure. I think we're gonna see 80s, 90s going into mid-May, end of May.
Yeah, I can see it as well. Remember, guys, Bitcoin has been really resilient, formidable the past 3 weeks, month and a half, I would say, actually taking on these headlines and stuff. So GDP news, not great, but I think we push through that and we kind of fall in line with these catalysts that are coming up.
Yep, for sure, man. All right, let's get into that Bitcoin price action brought to you guys by Artora. Artora.finance is a site that you guys are going to need to know because you're going to be able to go and use Artora.finance and actually be able to take leverage out on a Bitcoin L2. And the Bitcoin L2 that they're choosing for mainnet is Hemi. Hemi is backed by Binance. Binance, usually when they back a project is because they're getting some coins, right? So that's probably going to be listed on Binance. So you guys have an opportunity to use Artora and not only get the Artora airdrop, but also get the Hemi airdrop. And guys, I'm not gonna lie to you, I am out here airdrop hunting. We're actually going to be putting out a video probably on Sunday about all the airdrops that I'm hunting. So for our members, so if you are a YouTube member, you're going to be getting that video on Sunday. Look out for it. It's going to be everything that I'm airdropping hunting right now, and Artora is going to be once they launch. And I truly believe, guys, that these two tokens together, they're going to be free first off, so there's no risk involved besides really kind of messing around and using low money with the low leverage and taking advantage of the situation. And I like to take advantage of situations. And I want you guys to mess with Artora.finance.
Absolutely. And I remember my first airdrop was the Arbitrum airdrop. And I was just over there messing around, getting involved in stuff I think it was 2022. And then 2023 airdrop came. I was like, oh, this is amazing. So kind of similar situation, right, guys? It's a good surprise. But yeah, before we get into the Bitcoin price action, we appreciate all 125 of you guys. If you could help us out on the YouTube side, smash that like and then subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, guys, help us out here. Share the space. A lot of people are in Dubai. I hope you guys are traveling there safe and having fun. But let's get some shares going so we can educate the people that didn't go and update them with some alpha here, and then abstract as well. If you wouldn't mind sharing this stream there, we would greatly appreciate that. But let's get into some Bitcoin price action, starting on with the hour chart as always. So I'm not gonna lie, it did look really dismal, and it's kind of it's bounced back some, right? You can see kind of what I expected yesterday, right? Yesterday, we had that sell down in our show, and I said, we'll probably bounce back after the show throughout the night. We did, but then as soon as, those headlines with the GDP came out, we saw these two big red candles, which, Bitcoin still bounced back from that. You can see here, we have these green candles here. So I think if we were talking back in February, that news came out or something, this would have been a continuation, in my opinion. We would have saw maybe a little bit like a small green candle, another small one, and then continuation bleed out. That's why I feel like we're in a different phase of this year and cycle. With that being said, you can see, so Bitcoin did choose a direction though, right? Eventually I said, we'll see what happens, and we'll talk a little bit about that for more on the next chart, the 4 hour chart. But looking here on the 1 hour chart for the second half of today, we have had these two kind of big in the second monstrous red candle here, but this bounce back looks pretty decent. You can see the stochastic hasn't really crossed it. It made it right at the oversold point right here, right at that 20-point mark, and then did a little bit of a U-turn, not fully yet, but it looks like it wants to go back up. You can see the MACD blue line starting to curl here, but I don't trust that yet, because to me, these candles are a little bit too big. That was a little too intense. So I wouldn't be shocked if we do, come down a little bit more, kind of reverse this. That's just more of my intuition here than anything, because of what I've seen in the past here. I definitely need to see what the next candle looks like on the MACD to see if we have a continuation weak MACD candle. If that happens, we'll curl up here and we start to head back up here. I'll say, okay, we're starting to turn around, but we're hanging out here 93, about 94,000. I wouldn't be shocked if we range a little bit further down to like 93. In terms of any patterns I see here. Nothing really, because these are pretty drastic, candles to the downside. So nothing yet. But yeah, nothing too much to worry about for me, at least, because I feel like I know where we're heading the next month, 2 months. And so that's where I'm at. So second half of today, wouldn't be surprised if we do this kind of breaks back down. We kind of get to that lower 93,000, maybe higher 92. But if we do have this continuation here and it does break back out of here, then expect us to kind of get back to where we were, 94, 95. So that's kind of the two directions it could go to here. So that's the hour chart. Okay, getting to the 4-hour chart here. Let me open this up a little bit. So the 4-hour chart was the one I was talking about yesterday. I said, okay, there needs to be some sort of decisions, a little bit of a fork in the road for Bitcoin. What does it want to do? It looked like it wanted to go back up, and it looks like it took the downside, right? So depending, let's say I am right, we do kind of head back to 93, high 92,000s, then we'll probably have a continuation here. But it'll be, in my opinion, we're still going to just be choppy, right? So we'll probably have like another weak MACD candle, and then maybe a darker red one, and then eventually we'll break back out. But that could mean that we could have a little bit of a downtrend, chop to downtrend till Friday, right? And then maybe heading into the weekend that turns around. We'll see. If there any kind of patterns here, not really. I thought maybe we had a little bit of a cup and then handle. I don't really see it too defined here, though. So yeah, really gotta see which direction on the 1 hour it decides, but it does look like it wants to stay in this downtrend on the 4-hour, which tells me the next 2 days probably chop with downtrend as well, but nothing drastic. I don't see us like getting to 88,000 or anything like that. Could be completely wrong, though. So this is just a high level TA, nothing super in depth here. So that's what I'm seeing on the 4-hour chart as well. And then we're going to jump into the weekly. So the weekly is something that keeps me positive, keeps my bullish energy going, right? Along with the catalyst with the M2 money supply, plus people are talking about printing. I saw Fred Krueger, so crazy that's his name, but Fred Krueger posted, hey, he sees indications that the Fed most likely will start printing. You have that in with the M2 supply that's already happening around the globe. This continues up. We get past that 75% mark. I feel like we get to, that like 100, crossing that $100,000 mark, maybe first week in May, second week in May, around there. And then, we set that new all-time high, possibly in May, maybe June. And that's whenever everything else can start to feel a little bit better. You can see the indicators are starting to really come into this good setup here, but I do want to get a little bit more confident by getting us about 75-80% of the way to the overbought territory, and then I'll feel a lot better. But we're looking great here. Definitely starting to, creating that distance away from the 50-day EMA to me is a big deal. So we'll see how, the rest of this week plays out. Even if it is chop with downtrend, no worries in my opinion, but that is where I see Bitcoin for now. All right, taking a quick glance at the others on the weekly. This is everything besides Bitcoin and the top 10. So everything outside of that, kind of the same thing I've been saying about it, right? Needs Bitcoin to get hyper aggressive, get back to that crossing over 100,000, 110. Then this will kind of do, in my opinion, that hyper jump back up. But as of right now, we're just going to continue this, waiting on when Bitcoin's going to get there. So not too bad. Honestly, yes, red candle today. Bitcoin has still in the green. It got back into the green on the weekly. So it will follow suit. So that's my thought process there. And the last thing here is the crypto bubbles. Crypto bubbles looking a little bit more red on the 1 through 100 ranked tokens for the weekly than it did yesterday and the day before, but you still see virtual up 76.8%. So this narrative is still strong right now.
Yeah,
Pengu still looking pretty strong at 55.3% up. Some of these memes still rocking 37% for Trump, 27% for Flocky. Yeah, so I think we're still okay. Some of these utilities down, Uniswap down about 12%. Immutable X down about 6.2%, XRP down about 2.2%, but I still think this is okay. This is healthy, right? So I don't know. Anything stick out to you or anything you want to check out here?
Yeah, I mean, it's still looking strong on the weekly. That's what kind of really keeping me bullish here, and kind of really looking into these different, types of opportunities, right? So if you have something like Farcoin that's 2% on the week, huge week last 2 weeks, kind of cooling off this week, that's a good sign. I think tomorrow we're gonna look at the daily and see a crap ton of green. I think May just gonna inspire a lot of people. I truly believe that. So curious to kind of see. Yeah, don't look at the daily today. The day's not a good day for daily, but I think tomorrow's daily is gonna be
Yeah.
very, very green.
No, I agree. Look, I mean, Fartcoin on a horrible day is still up 2.3%. How is
Yeah.
it still green? I just don't get that. It's weird.
Yeah. I
But
mean, 2% is 2%, right? On
yeah,
the week. So it's
true,
getting
true,
hammered
true.
though on the daily. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, so that's what we got for the Bitcoin and others price action. Probably need to change the title to that, but that's what we got, guys. Hopefully that helps you. Again, this is high level, so not super in depth. Just
yeah.
take it for what you will, and hopefully that helps you guys with some research and stuff.
Yep. All right, let's get into the next thing here, which is roll call, my favorite segment of the day. Let's see who is here and let's see who is first. A big deal on this show. If you don't know what this is, we track every single week, every single day that we are live through the 11 o'clock live stream. That whoever is first, and Lucky Lukey today, sir, is you. Danny Boy was yesterday, followed by you on Monday. You are cruising this week. Shout out to Lucky Lukey with his 11th win of the year. Congratulations, man. It's really a 4-team race right now. We have Danny Boy, and then we have our guy Webdro, followed by Lackey Lukey in third, and ASAP Benji in fourth. So really awesome to see you guys kind of pushing. Plenty of time left, guys. You got like over probably 160 days left, 180 days left. So want you guys to keep trying for this, and let's see we get some tomorrow. We got May 1st, so we'll see who the 1st of May is. Congratulations to every single one of you guys who makes roll call every single day. But let's hop into it. We got my man Lucky Dookie, Danny Boy. Shout out to Danny Boy, always here. Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo. Shout out to you, my friend. Mats is here. Shout out to Mats. Malam Yuri is here. Shout out to Malam. Glasshopper. Shout out to Glasshopper, rocking with us yesterday during the Foxy live stream. Glasshopper's a beast, man. I kind of just follow him and we just kind of shoot together. I know he sees me kind of tracking him sometimes when he's on my team, and we just kind of I kind of take some of his kills. He gets them down a little low, and I come in with the headshot. But hey, thank you, sir. I appreciate you joining us and having some fun with us, man. Webdro, shout out to Webdro, Lackey Lukey again, +1 shout out to you, my friend. Malam Yuri says Robert Kiyosaki thinks there's a big crash and an even bigger depression coming that could send Bitcoin crashing too. What do you guys think? So real quick, Robert Kiyosaki is somebody who every month or so comes out and says everything's going to poop, and he's probably right 2 times out of the last 20 recessions he has called. Right, so he's even a broke clock is right twice a day. So I don't take anything Kiyosaki says. I mean, this guy, he just says stuff to get attention. I mean, that's what he does, right? He tries to get clicks, he tries to get follows, and he has a podcast, right? So he needs to kind of always be relevant. I wouldn't take this to be truth. What about you?
Yeah, he well, first of all, he seems to be not like the nicest dude. Like, I've seen him go off on a couple of his guests, or like people are interviewing, and I'm like, he ain't that big. I mean, like, obviously he's rich. He's richer than a lot of all of us probably. But the point that you're making is, I think, right. Like, he's probably trying to stir the pot a bit. He has some good points with it, just because like where we are, but it's more of like he does kind of swing it back into like opportunity though a lot of times.
Yeah,
he's like, this is the opportunity to get into assets, but he's like, once they crash, I just don't see Bitcoin crashing hard like that, especially with these institutions going in heavy, nation states eventually going in heavy, especially if it gets to like 200 250. That FOMO is going to happen at a different level. We've talked about that, right? So I think he's wrong about that, but the stock market maybe though.
Yeah, we'll see. And Bitcoin can take that gold narrative, and we'll see. But then you can see Bitcoin dominance at like 80%. Like, I don't want to see that.
Me neither.
PJNZ is here. Shout out to PJNZ, followed by our guy Nighthawk out there, wearing that cape, bringing people home at night safely. Shout out to Nighthawk, Lucky Lukey again. Guys, remember to smash those likes. It really helps. I'm not seeing that many likes, guys. You guys wouldn't mind, please smash those likes. And on X as well. Abstract is here. Shout out to Abstract. Chips and Dip. Shout out to you, my friend. K99, Satoshi Nakamoto. Shout out to Satoshi. watching from the cyberspace. Nabob is here. Shout out to Nabob. Spindrift is here. Shout out to Spindrift. Vader Time. Mempool Punk, my guy. Shout out to you, my friend. Followed by Crypto Winner. Superfan is here every single day. Superfan, I love it, bro. Thank you so much for being here every day. Right at 11 o'clock, you're here with a GM. It really makes me happy that you're always here, man. Thank you so much. Steamy J is here. Zap Pressy, it's been a while, my friend. Thank you so much for being here today. Hi, gang. Followed by Pelpa. Pelpa, always here. Shout out to Pelpa. Thank you guys so much.
Yep.
Making roll call.
A lot of new names in the chat. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the family.
Yep. All right, let's kind of get into today's topic of the day: Bitcoin, stablecoins, and DeFi. The start, if a new era. What do you take from this title?
I take that I did a typo in there. My bad. It should say the start of a new era. But what I take from this is, I can't, when I try to research back and look at counterparty, I can't find any stable coins, right? And so now that there's 3 different major stable coins in terms of branding, where they're positioning themselves. There's 4, but the 4th one I did not want to really go over too much, but we can, is bullish to me, because stable coins can be really strong for like a strong entity, because there's multiple different things you can go into down the road, borrowing, lending, that type of thing, and then it gives people an opportunity to earn, off of their assets as well. Right. So it's almost kind of like a bank in a sense, like it could get to that point. And we have some really cool people that have experience behind some of these brands, kind of, leading the way, pioneering stables within the Bitcoin ecosystem. And all of them are having a little bit of a different approach, right? Yeah. Some are more keen to scaling solutions, and then some try to stay as close to the base as possible. So to me, just the fact that they're here, and some of them are already like spinning up their DeFi platforms as well, that you can trade other assets and then integrate the stables into it. To me, this is a really bullish indicator for infrastructure for Bitcoin.
Yeah, 100%. Agree. I think, we're going to see a whole new generation of Bitcoin coming, and it's going to be on-chain. It's going to be here. You're going to see a lot of stuff potentially off-chain, Bitcoin-wise too, like a lot of these L2s and stuff like that wrapped Bitcoin. But I think the type of innovation that's going to happen is going to happen in those 10-minute blocks. It's going to happen on Bitcoin. It's going to happen with either runes or Alkanes. But let's kind of get into the next thing here. Sats Terminal. We're excited to announce that we're working with Alkanes. Soon you'll be able to buy Alkanes in Sats Terminal. So this is a big deal, because we do know Alkanes has a programming language. They're using WASM, which is WebAssembly, and potentially they're going to be able to do things, really cool stuff. So we do know Sats Terminal is an aggregator. So they're going to be aggregating this from whatever Alkanes is building and kind of using that over there. But what do you get from this headline here?
I get that Sats Terminal is just trying to serve the community and the masses, right? So look, they have not hid behind that, that goal of saying, hey, look, we're going to be open-minded. We're going to serve what the community is asking for. Obviously, runes are really big. That's going to be like one of their priorities. But we're open to, if BRC 2.0 becomes big, or Alkanes has obviously picked up a lot of momentum to servicing that. And this is an example of that, right? So they're going to include Alkanes into it. And for them, it's more of making the experience for the user more and more better, convenient, so you can do everything all in one place. Because there's going to be people that are trading Alkanes and runes, kind of, crossing both meta protocols there. So this is big, and it shows that Sats Terminal is really open to serving the Bitcoin ecosystem community.
Yeah, 100%. And we have a call with these guys this week, so I'm really trying to understand if they're building a swap or if they are just aggregating it, right? From this headline, do you think they're actually building a swap for Alkanes?
I think they're capable. I mean, they're the guy, the CTO is a cracked dev, right? Like he's one of those people that, like, I was like, I could probably be like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you whip up a Dex for me? And he'd be like, yeah, I'll have it to you later today. He's like one of those people that can like knock things out that fast, right? So, look, I wouldn't be shocked if they did create the Dex from scratch, or if they're just going to aggregate what Alkanes team is going to create. Because I do know Alkane's team is creating an AMM style DEX as well. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen here. The interesting part is they keep just reiterating that it's going to be a Bitcoin layer 1 AMM, which I'm still confused of that, like how that can happen unless it's going to be off chain indexing and all that stuff. But we'll learn more details.
Yeah, I'm curious if you're gonna be able to use WASM to do that type of stuff. WASM is just a language, right? You need compatibility. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right. So the next two things is kind of cool. I've been really digging in, guys. Really digging into potentially where I can get an airdrop, where I can just kind of learn and see what's next here. And I came across this really cool project called Build on Spark. That is the X handle. It's called Build on Spark. Spark.money is a site. And guys, everything we're showing right now is, I mean, they've got 3,300 followers, right? So it's brand new. This is the stuff that I just want you guys to know exists. And I actually went into their stocks, documents, and stuff like that and started reading. So it does look like Spark.money is going to allow you to create your own stablecoin, to create your own wallet, even if this loads up for me here. So I went into it, and I'm very basic in my due diligence here, but you can create a wallet, you can send payment, mint token, buy it. So it's really cool so far, but you're able to making Bitcoin money again. And then if you go up to stable coins, you will see that launch stablecoins on Bitcoin instantly. Create a stablecoin on the most neutral and widely adopted network with Spark. So you're able to issue a stablecoin. It's great. It's crazy because it just went live yesterday, and it does walk you through. You do need APIs and stuff like that, but they are using something that I also found. So I did a little due diligence into how they're doing it. They're using a site called Braille.xyz. Braille actually lets you create your own stablecoin on Ethereum, and I'm guessing you're going to be able to using Spark, which is kind of like some type of partnership they have together, where you're going to be able to do that on Bitcoin. So right now you can see that they're actually doing it on Ethereum, and it's actually walking you through right now how to actually do a stablecoin. So you're giving them US dollar, USD, and you're creating your stablecoin just like this. But pretty crazy that you're gonna, like, anyone can create a stablecoin on Bitcoin using these sites here.
Oh man, that makes me have anxiety. Because when you think about stablecoin and like just being able to issue one, like I could do a Yagobi stablecoin or something like that. Like obviously they have this mechanism that backs it and makes it, I would imagine, safe. Like, how does that you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It's just obviously we got to dive deeper into it. And if they're grabbing this from that Braille project that's EVM, are they doing something that's going to be chain abstraction, right? And if that's the case, that's okay because everybody's doing that. But I think we just need to learn more. I'm glad you brought this up because they weren't even on my radar as one of the stable coins, but it's a totally different dynamic, right? You can go in there and issue your own. Who would do that though? What's an example of someone that would do that? Liquidium, maybe?
Yeah, Liquidium. If they want to have their own stablecoin running on there, where you can borrow against it. Obviously, it's awesome because, like, I'm not trusting Liquidium to back it 1-to-1. They don't have to do that, right? They're using this other site to do it for them. So this company is just all the stablecoins are exactly the same, right? They're all have the same. The backing's all in the same place, but you can make it your own. You can kind of solidify it as like, this is a stablecoin that we want. It'll have its own type of smart contract, I guess. I don't even know
branding.
How they're branding. Yeah, so I mean, it doesn't matter. But the cool thing is, though, is the DEXs. You'll be able to get a lot of yield from these, right? If there's a lot of trading, let's just say Liquidium does do their own, or Fluid does their own stablecoin, they can put that up against another stablecoin, right, and have USDC pairings, and you're able to trade that back and forth and get yield. 1-2% yield on your stablecoin, 3%, depending on how much trading is done between the two tokens, and you're able to add liquidity to those tokens, and just I mean, there's opportunities here. And I've never seen anything like this before. So I was like blown away by it.
Yeah, and possibly, you could, let's say that Fluid decided they wanted to, do this, right? Brand their own stable coin. they technically could do like a mixture of FLDT and Bitcoin backing, like an additional collateral or something, which would give FLDT some utility, right? Saying, hey, look, this backs the stable coin is backed by partially like you would, in my opinion, you would have to do something small, like 20% FLDT, 80% Bitcoin or something, you know. But obviously, if they're already backing it in their way, it would just be like an additional thing. There's probably a lot of crazy things you could do with this, right? The fact that's even an option is wild.
The problem is, let's say 300 stablecoins are made from this, right? And you're seeing a whole bunch of different ones, but then something happens to the backing, and they all just go to zero, right?
Yeah.
To me, it's probably just better just to just hold USDC or you know, something up.
Yeah,
with it, but
it's definitely you know, you're going on the ledge for it. But like Milan Yuri's done some research already. They say amazing. You have to back it with Bitcoin and PEP it 1-to-1. So to Satoshi's is what I'm thinking. So that's the assumption there. That's kind of what I thought there would be some sort of but it's like the setup is there for you, right? So you like the development and stuff.
Yeah, definitely gonna learn more. Definitely gonna reach out to the team and kind of maybe get them on the show for an episode to kind of learn from this, because it's really cool. And like I said, they just launched yesterday, so I just heard about them yesterday. So I just didn't really look into it too far, especially looking at the docs and put the docs in ChatGPT and kind of ask it some questions. That's what I like to do. I don't like reading the docs. I like asking questions, get my questions answered using the docs. But let's jump into the next thing here. Flashnet. So another thing that I came across was Flashnet.xyz is the site. So Flashnet utilizes the Lightning Network for trading operations. Users can fund their wallets instantly using the Lightning Network, Spark, or opt for a standard layer 1 Bitcoin transaction. So this is something we just talked about Spark, right? Build on Spark. This is something from that team as well. It's called Flashnet. And what they're doing is they're going to allow you to use the Bitcoin Lightning Network. You're going to be able to convert your Bitcoin into Lightning Bitcoin and use the Lightning Network. But they're going to have full on order books. So you can actually use the Lightning Network and say, hey, if Bitcoin hits 150,000, I want to sell for USDT. And if Bitcoin, you know, let's just say if Bitcoin hits 80,000, I want to buy using my USDT. So we do know that USDT is going to be offered on the Lightning Network, which is a big deal. So this is the first company that I've seen already taking advantage of that. And right now, it looks like there's only going to be Bitcoin, but if there's USDT, there's going to be some type of token standard over there. So potentially, you're going to be able to either, you know, back your tokens 1-to-1 and bridge them there. So potentially runes on Lightning and who knows what else.
Yeah, this is interesting, man. We know that Jack Mallers was announced the CEO of Tether recently, and so I wonder, you know, he's a big Lightning guy, right? So those talks were probably happening a long time ago about USDT going to Lightning, and now, you know, he's it looks like Lightning's trying to open up and be, which I mean, it's about time, right? Like for regular people to be able to use it. And just with the channels being kind of like subnets in a sense, I wonder how this is going to work, right? How is it going to be easy? But with this example, they're trying to make it easier and easier and easier. And I think they realize, hey, look, they're doing chain abstraction stuff as well with Bitcoin. We can do something similar to where the user is just kind of like, hey, look, I'm just using my Bitcoin wallet, make it a simple situation. They don't have to mess with the channels switching and all that crap. I want to dive deeper into this because it's going to be interesting. And you brought up a good point. USDT probably has, you know, a standard, or they have to have some sort of standard there. How will that work with, you know, possibly bridging runes in there, right? We see this issue with Odin.fun right now because ICP runs on subnets, right? So what is the Odin.fun token standard? We don't know. We just know it's some sort of ICP standard. I think that kind of information needs to be clear, because if we need to know it, I guess people like you and I, we want to know that. I guess other people don't give a crap, right? So it's really going to be about like how easy this is to use, but it's bullish, right? It's bullish. We don't dabble in Lightning that much, but maybe we will be here in the next, you know, a couple months.
Yeah. And you could potentially do the same thing you're doing on native Bitcoin, right? Just put an indexer over there and back, you know, potentially back each Satoshi by a coin, right? And like kind of like how the color coins were. And, you know, potentially doing that. I think that's how they're going to be doing USDT, honestly. I think it's going to be one Satoshi is going to be equal $1, but, you know, it's going to be indexed to where that USDT is, you know, indexed and kind of seen as that dollar. But we'll see. We will see. But basically, so you can spin up a wallet, strictly non-custodial, create and import self-custody Bitcoin wallet, deposit native Bitcoin, fund your wallet instantly using the Lightning Network Spark, or wait a little longer for a standard L1 transaction. So you can deposit your Bitcoin from L1, and then it'll receive it and actually convert it into Lightning Bitcoin. Start trading. So begin trading Bitcoin natively, a pro terminal designed for every trader, empowering you to make the most of your funds. So that's where you're going to be able to potentially, looking like, only USDT at first, but we will see. We will see. Potentially, they might even bring over Ethereum, or who knows what else.
Yeah, I mean, the phrase "start trading," that action, that action phrase there, that to me, I think that's why Jack Mallers got a lot of crap from the maxis, right? They're like, "Oh, we thought you were one of us." Come on, like when there's business opportunity scaling, that they're going to take advantage of it, and I think that's what could happen here if the Lightning devs, the core teams or whatever over there, are smart. I think what they would do is kind of slowly open their arms and say, "Hey, Bitcoin ecosystem, especially native Bitcoin stuff, and like, come on, we're opening our arms." Because start trading to me means not just Bitcoin and USDT. I think it means other assets as well. So we're gonna find out though.
And we do know the Bitcoin frogs were created on Lightning, right? So, and they were, kind of bridged over. So, who knows? You might have ordinal projects running on Lightning. It seems like a gate's been opened, but we will see what comes from that. But let's get into our next segment here. So, last week, project popped on my radar. It was called Radfi.co. Started looking into it, realized it's a friend of the show. It's Scott, right? And Scott is actually building a stablecoin. Bound stablecoin. He's they're focused on Arch right now. Arch is potentially going to be dropping in June, July, so we're definitely looking forward to that, and potentially Bound might be there with them. We're going to learn all about what is happening with Bound, and we're going to learn all about this insane Radfi.co. So without further ado, let's bring up Scott. Scott, welcome to OnChain Revolution. Thanks so much for being here, sir.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Good to be back.
Of course. Are you on the show with us from Dubai, or did you decide to hang back?
No, I decided to hang back. I sent another guy from my team there, TJ. He's over there. He's at the Arch House and checking out what the Bitcoin ecosystem has cooking over in Dubai.
Nice. Yeah, and today's theme is actually, this is perfect because we were talking about stable coins in the Bitcoin ecosystem and how it's a really good indicator that like infrastructure is actually being built here. We just went over one that was utilizing Lightning Network. You guys are kind of saying, hey, look, we love Bitcoin's native layer, but we also know that like scaling solutions are necessary as well. So you guys, I believe, are still building on Arch as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, but how's everything going with Bound? Let's kick it off there. And the progress, and how do you see the stablecoin ecosystem with Bitcoin starting to progress?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just to clarify, definitely still building on Arch. Really excited for their launch June, July, like you were saying. I think, having a vanilla kind of reliable stablecoin like BUSD for the Bitcoin ecosystem to help kickstart and bootstrap, DeFi on layer one is going to be extremely important. And I, still have that thesis, like the growth of Bitcoin DeFi is going to be tied, or the growth of stable coins issued on Bitcoin is going to be tied to the growth of Bitcoin DeFi, because one of the biggest use cases that we think is going to be, borrow lend against, using Bitcoin as collateral, being able to borrow dollars and get some leverage, and being able to do that all on L1, like from your wallet. That's, some of the stuff that Arch Network is going to enable. We're really excited about.
Love it. And I think that's the most underrated part of this infrastructure build out, is utilizing your Bitcoin as leverage to borrow stable. That's like the fundamental, because when you have a really strong base foundational asset like Bitcoin, and that's why I think stable coin builders are attracted to, Bitcoin DeFi and stuff like that. And you guys already kind of starting to build the foundation on the DeFi side with Radfi.co.
Exactly. Yeah.
But going back to stable coins real quick, like the utilizing Lightning with the other, I forgot what they were called. And then you have Ducat, and then you have you guys Bound, and Hermetica is kind of more on stacks, but they all can kind of work within the same ecosystem. Do you feel like something like Lightning, because we haven't been diving deep in there, will kind of be like, hey, look, we can all work together? Or do you think they're going to be like, we're going to try to capture the market? Because it's competitive too.
It is, yeah. I think like on the Lightning side, what is it? That yeah, I do think like that Lightning definitely makes sense for stablecoins in general. I imagine Tether is kind of going to dominate that market share. I mean, let's be honest, like that's they're kind of showing their support for Lightning as a scaling solution, and I think from what I heard, their issue. I heard you guys talking like towards wrapping up at the end of the segment on Flashnet. One Satoshi, one stablecoin, and indexing it. They have these things called taproot assets, and I'm not like, in depth. Like I'm not super familiar with how they work, if it works as you guys were describing. But I did hear kind of last year, at last token back in Singapore that Tether was going to be issuing on Lightning. I mean, in terms of like flow back and forth, I could see Bound kind of helping be that wrapper that binds it all together to go through different ecosystems, right? Because we'll issue on Arch Network natively, we'll issue on Bitcoin Layer 1, we'll issue on Alkanes, we'll issue a Taproot asset, or we can just take in USDT from Lightning and issue BUSD, right? Because BUSD is just a basket of stablecoins, essentially. It's just backed by other stablecoins to make, kind of seamless liquidity between ecosystems. So I do see it as like, I'm excited for what is happening in Lightning. I saw the Flashnet, I think it was called.
Flashnet.
Okay, all right. Announcement, and also Spark to go along with it. And their angle seems very focused on stablecoins. I do think Lightning is probably going to try and tackle payments more. And I even think, Tether adjacent project Plasma, just from their messaging, also seems to be more payments and like cross-border transactions oriented than degen DeFi Ponzinomics, which I think there's a lot of interest in like the layer 1 like Bitcoin community that's been growing. So I think there's kind of room for different that's where Bound can kind of take more market share.
Yeah, and Bound has a really awesome opportunity with Arch, right? Like Arch is going to be launching. It's looking like it's going to be, one of the 2 stablecoins that are going to be there. You guys are mainly focused on Arch, while the other one is kind of on Stacks and other places as well. So you guys are going to be, being used to build things, right? And that's the biggest thing. The other projects are going to come in. They're going to want a stablecoin on their project. Bound is going to be sitting there just waiting for them to kind of do their thing, right? So that's one thing that's awesome about Bound is you guys are connected to Arch so well. And I'm curious, when we're probably going to see Bound launch. I mean, let's just say Arch is correct and they launched end of June, early July. Is Bound also going to launch around that time period?
We're actually pretty much ready to go. We've been doing the final stages of testing and, doing like, the secure signing on our cold storage and hot multi-sigs, testing the flow, going back and forth between Runes and Ethereum mainnet and Runes. We're pretty confident. I think I'm going to start doing internal testing today, actually, in production testing, making sure everything works properly, and we could have the product out for people to use as soon as next week. Use cases is kind of the main thing about that in terms of like why launch Bound right now. If you're going to be trading on Magic Eden, like blocks of 10,000 BUSD is not like the most user friendly way to trade dollars against Bitcoin, and that is why we have Radfi right now, which we could talk more about, but I'll let you guys make the call on that.
Yeah. We're going to jump into that right here, but I just want to say, I think that aggregating stablecoin liquidity is brilliant because it puts you not only at like a safe way to back your stablecoins, but also as like a tool for something like USDT on Lightning and stuff like that, to where it's easy, trustable, stuff like that to wrap and all that stuff. So really awesome. And you kind of, made a great point there about Radfi, because when I think stablecoin, I think eventually you got to be able to have a platform, or at least partner with a lot of platforms that can let you do things with it. And you guys decided to whip up Radfi, which looks awesome, by the way. Not shocked that you guys started with the pups liquidity pool there, considering that you guys are all crazy puppets on the team there. But could you kind of go into
what were you saying?
Oh, there you go. There you go. You're waiting for that line. We have a full script of the show. Scott had the script. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, could you talk about Radfi? Obviously, you said, you guys kind of whipped it up because of being able to buy the stablecoin, all that stuff. But like, what other features, benefits, maybe just go into like how it all started?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of how it started, right? We had first line of thinking was, let's build a stablecoin for this new growing DeFi ecosystem. We have a thesis that Bitcoin DeFi is going to boom in 2025. Let's get prepared for that. What's like the most agnostic kind of just like broad way to capture that growth? That's a stablecoin. So we built down first, and then we finished that, and things were a little behind schedule from what we had anticipated. So we started to say like, okay, we built a stablecoin. Let's build another DeFi product around it that can kind of focus on bringing liquidity and more use case for it. So that's when we started thinking about Radfi. And from, the way I think about Radfi is really just like a DeFi product suite for the Bitcoin ecosystem. We have our own AMM that'll, of course, have like a Bitcoin against BUSD pool. We started with Pups Bitcoin because, as you said, we got to create a team of crazy Bitcoin puppets. And, we love pups and wanted to go ups. But yeah, so, we have a lot more in the hopper that I'm pretty excited about. Certain things I can talk about, certain things I can't. But, we got a lot of attention the other day for like how we built Radfi, which was, pretty kind of exciting, random. I was like looking through Twitter, and this guy's like pointing out who's doing this weird shit in the mempool and like, why are they structuring transactions this way? So I'm like, runes adjacent protocol. I'm like, runes adjacent, huh? He's like, only, and then I see another weird thing is it's only focused on pups, and it seems to have like, decent adoption on pups. And I'm like, okay, all right, this has to be us. And I like dive a little deeper. I'm like, yep, that's us. And what he noticed was that with Radfi, we want full Bitcoin data availability. Okay, so what he saw was us packing data of what is supposed to happen, like the instructions for Radfi. We pack all of that into
Opportune.
Yeah, not Opportune, because we couldn't see. The issue is we couldn't do that because Opportune is used for the runes data.
Oh, okay.
So you can't mix runes data with other arbitrary data, which I don't know is maybe something that we could be extended on the runes protocol, perhaps. But what we did was we put it into OP12, which is just kind of like reserved for like future Bitcoin upgrades, and we found we could use it for data, and we jammed some data in there, and it definitely and now anybody could say with full certainty, like you could rebuild the entire state of Radfi based on that data. Like every trade that's ever happened, every liquidity that's ever been put in or put out, you could figure out exactly what the quote that we should offer is and whether or not we're being honest about that and things to that effect. So we wanted as much reliance on Bitcoin layer 1 and as much like, information on Radfi available on Bitcoin layer 1 as possible. That was
my God.
how I was thinking about Radfi.
Whoever's going to develop your Explorer eventually is going to love you for that, probably, because they can just reference all that data, which to me I think is genius, because I don't think people think about that when they're building a swap or anything right now. They just want to be able to get it done because it's Bitcoin. They're like, oh my God, like the limitations and all that stuff. Another thing, I bet you Maxis love that you did that, right?
I saw like one of the comments under the post was like, can somebody build me a script so I can censor or block this from my node?
That's so funny.
So you might be the reason why Todd came out. That might be the reason, because the guy HBO called Satoshi. What's his first name?
Todd Peters.
Todd
Peters.
I don't know his name.
Right,
Yes,
right.
I thought it was something Todd. But anyway, he came
Peters
out and he
Todd.
said he wants to change things in the op return and stuff like that. So
saw
you might
that, yeah.
he might have saw your thing there.
That would be
and
very
like,
helpful.
Oh, what
for
the
us.
hell?
I would love there to be less restrictions on what can be put into op return. That would definitely be helpful.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Love it.
All right, so I'm gonna show the decks here because you guys are very colorful, and I guess that comes from your pups background here.
Yeah.
The UI is nice. I do enjoy it. Me and Yagobi were talking. At first, we were both just like, "What the hell are they doing? It's not even square." Like so we were kind of like messing around, but then we saw the puppets, and we saw what was running behind it, and it was like, okay, they're going this route. They're going the fun, exciting route. Yeah, abstract.
We're memorable. We want to be memorable. We're not your average
100%.
decks.
So walk me through this. Walk me through what do I do when I first come to your site here?
Sure. Yeah. Let's click that get started button. Let's do it. Launch the app.
All right. So I hit the get
Please
started
work.
or I hit launch app.
Either one works.
Okay.
Same.
Cool. And it'll pop me over to here.
Yep.
All right.
Exactly.
So like very similar. Oh, here we go. This is where I saw it. Okay, I was wondering where I saw this craziness happen. That wizard just hit the puppet and turned into rats.
Where are the rats? What are the rats referencing to?
That's just like something that our like the lead designer on our team, like that built all the stuff, just loves like Radfi rats, just like came to her and she just like, loves the rats. I like the rats too. They're cute, they're funny, they're mischievous. You know, they
everybody's chasing them. Everybody's chasing them.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's trying to catch them. You know, little Tom and Jerry kind of vibes there. But all right, so you would connect wallet here would be the next step. If you have Xverse, or interesting, like that.
I don't see anything that pop up.
Do you have Begin?
Yeah, I have a Begin wallet. Do you guys have Begin? That's weird. Begin's a Cardano Bitcoin wallet.
We only support Xverse. I feel like Begin probably has some plugin that allows you to connect. Like has the same APIs as Xverse, perhaps.
Live update. Live update.
Yeah, I'm honestly not even familiar.
Well, do you have expert? You don't have X. Oh, you do have X.
No, I have everything here. I got every wallet imaginable. I mean, I don't know why my Xverse.
Maybe that's throwing our front end off. I mean, I'm curious what happens if you click Begin. If it'll.
Let me I'll just I'll close my Begin. I'll delete it real quick, and I'll just download it later. I don't really use it too often.
Damn, dude. We're so close to having a smooth demo.
Yeah, mine's showing Xverse.
Okay.
Is it all right? I'll do it now. I got the Begin going. The Begin's still there. So you want to show yours, Yagobi?
Yeah. I'll show mine. I guess. Oh, sorry. I don't even know what I'm doing. Give me a second. Okay, let me share my screen here. Let me get logged in first. But that is, I didn't know that. That's cool though, because Begin is the UTXO wallet. I know that they are initially started, I believe, on Cardano. And so maybe this is we just gave you guys some alpha, possibly. Maybe they're coming over to Bitcoin. I don't know.
No, they are. They have a Bitcoin wallet. I'm guessing they just use Xverse. Okay, I'm good now. I deleted my my Begin wallet. So now I'm seeing Xverse. So I'll click Xverse here. My Xverse will pop up. I'll put my password in here, and I'll log in. Unlock.
Come on, work. This is a beta.
Yeah, I don't got much in this one, so I'm good. All right. So what next?
This is the first. I just want to jump in here. So this is the first step is going to be creating a trading wallet, and I think we need to do a lot better in terms of like feedback we've gotten on education on what a trading wallet is. Because people are hesitant to deposit into it. You could click it. It's not going to take a transaction or anything. Just agree to our terms. All right. I got you got to sign a message, but it won't send a transaction.
Okay.
That's just to agree to the terms there. Okay. So now click fund your trading wallet. It'll take you back to the portfolio tab. Now a trading wallet. Okay. And this is got to do better on the education side. This is a 2 of 2 multi-signature wallet between yourself and Radfi. You are not giving us custody. Okay, we cannot take your Bitcoins. We cannot take your runes. I couldn't be more clear about that. I really want to hammer that home. You do not give up custody when depositing into the 2 of 2 multisig. And our signature also expires after 3 months. So you'll be required to refresh it. But your absolute worst case scenario of depositing into a Radfi trading wallet, let's say for some reason we refuse to sign your transactions, you would have to wait 3 months and then you'd be able to just withdraw your money without our permission. Okay, so we cannot take money, but it does require our signature to execute any transaction. And the reason we do that is because we're creating this architecture that prevents double spend. Okay, so you'll see once you get started here, you still have to wait 1 full Bitcoin block to fund your wallet here. But once you have money in a Radfi trading wallet, you have the trading experience of any other chain. As soon as you sign a transaction, we credit your balance. Like if you buy 1 Bitcoin worth of pups, you could take that pups and you could immediately withdraw it back to your wallet. You could take that pups, you could trade it for something else on Radfi. You could trade it back into Bitcoin. Like you can use it to supply liquidity. You can do all of these things with an instant user experience because we know you can't cancel that transaction. If you tried to double spend, If you tried to replace it with a higher fee to send the Bitcoin to yourself instead of trading for pups, we would not sign that. So we know that you can't double spend and that you're committed to this transaction, and that for all intents and purposes, the transaction is finalized. We're just waiting for it to be confirmed in a Bitcoin block. So we let you spend all of these like child parent UTXOs. You can do it up to like 25 times per UTXO. I think we have like 10 UTXOs per pool. It enables like 250 trades per block.
So let me ask you this. So, you did emphasize that this is not custodial, right? So another example that everybody feels like is custodial is, let's say something like Odin.fund. The difference, what I'm understanding is here, I'm one of the multi-sig signers. Without me, that wallet that's in between us cannot make a transaction. But on Odin, I'm kind of doing more of a deposit. Then that goes into a multi-sig with only their team. Is that the difference?
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how Odin Fund works, but yeah, I would assume.
And maybe Odin Fund works this way too. I'm just using.
I don't think they use a trading wallet. I'm just not exactly sure like where the funds go when you deposit it. I think there's something to do with ICP mixed in there. Is the only thing about it.
Yeah, and for the audience, I'm not saying that Odin Fund's completely custodial. I'm just trying to use an example of what I perceived it as. So, all right, we can move on now.
All right, so I have my 0.002 about 18 bucks I deposited in here. When that hits, I'll go to swap, right? And then I'm able to swap for, let's check your pools out first, because obviously I want to swap for the highest liquidity. That's my liquidity. I can go to pools. All right, so it looks, holy crap, you guys have a ton of Bitcoin and pups there.
We got pups covered. For sure. And then some people testing on our beta added these other pools. We got some based Internet Panda yesterday, Wanko Manko also yesterday. These are people that kind of saw, that thread I was talking about that pointed out our unique data structure. And what is it? And those guys saw that and came in and supplied some liquidity. Looks like we have some work to do on the keeping the column straight there. So I'll definitely be raising that issue later today. And also looks like the Pups APY is up with people trading and testing out the app. So if you want to LP there, give it a try. You'll earn fees on that APY is just purely from fees, just based on like the amount
paid in Bitcoin.
Paid in Bitcoin and pups.
Wow. Okay, so you're getting a mixture. So your LP would just get bigger.
It depends on what the person was trading. So if they trade pups, the fee I think comes out in pups. If they trade Bitcoin, it comes out in Bitcoin. And
then do I have to claim that, or will my LP just get?
Yeah, you'll claim.
I have to claim that. Okay.
Yeah, you'll have to claim it. Whenever you feel like it.
Wow, incredible. And when I do make the swap, I still gotta wait the Bitcoin block, correct or no?
No. Once it's deposited, you don't have to wait a Bitcoin block.
So I can go to pups, back to Bitcoin, back to pups, back to Bitcoin, back to pups, and all in one Bitcoin block. Yeah,
like 10, 15, 25 times.
So you're basically doing very similar to what Arch is doing, just in a different way.
I would say that. I guess with Arch's infrastructure, we could definitely do a lot more. We can, something I'm excited about is like potential, like really in-depth, like token economics and incentives and, building out, more unique, gamification of our platform. And also like more decentralized signing of, the liquidity pools themselves.
Wow.
So Arch infrastructure can definitely help us kind of bring this to the next level.
Yeah, that's cool. And this is probably part of the thing that you said you can't talk too much about, but I imagine I'm gonna bring it up anyway because I'm a jerk. Well, no, I'm not saying what you think I'm gonna say, but I imagine that like there will be a lending component within this, or
okay, yeah. I mean, I can't. Okay. We will definitely this is the proof of concept, right? Like this is definitely just stage one. I wanted to see if this like instant swaps and like great user experience was possible on Bitcoin. I now see it is. Other people are now seeing that it is. And we really want to layer in additional DeFi primitives through partners and potentially through building some of them ourselves, the way we've done with the AMM. One that I'm really excited about, I actually just got off a call with them before this call, is this cross-chain DeFi partner that we're talking to. Not going to mention the name just yet, but with them, we'll be able to enable pure, like 100% instant swaps between Bitcoin and Solana. Like, let's say you want to sell some of your Solana for Bitcoin. Okay, you'll be able to sell it to them. They'll have some Bitcoin in a Radfi trading wallet, and then as soon as they receive the Solana, they'll send their Bitcoin in their trading wallet to your trading wallet. So it'll settle instantly because we have the same assurances of no double spending using the 2 of 2 multisig. So going between Bitcoin and other ecosystems and Bitcoin, usually you have to wait at least 1 Bitcoin block for that to happen. If you're depositing into an exchange even, you have to wait 1 Bitcoin block, then they'll credit your account, allow you to trade. But with us, purely wallet to wallet, because of this trading wallet architecture, we'll be able to do instant between other ecosystems. And that also applies to borrowing and lending, right? Depositing Bitcoin as collateral, borrowing dollars, all of that can happen within 1 Bitcoin block.
That's incredible.
So like longer term, this is the proof of concept. Longer term, we're definitely going to be layering in other primitives, primitives on Arch Network as well, and primitives, outside of the Bitcoin ecosystem entirely.
Wow. And I can deposit anything in my wallet right now.
You could, yeah. You could, if you wanted to like create a liquidity pool for, Runes X Bitcoin or NFL Week 2.
I have a bunch of Fluid in here. Fluid FLDT. They bridged in from Cardano. If I wanted to get some more Bitcoin in here and deposit both, then I can create an LP for Fluid and BTC.
Yeah, you could do that. Totally permissionless on the creation. And the LP side, right? Like you have to give your funds to us. We're pretty much the way I think about like the LP is like we're willing to be online 24/7 to make markets however you tell us you want us to make them, right? You set a custom range. You're like, I want us to trade Fluid between 5 sats and 100 sats at an even curve. Do that for me. And we'll be like, okay, sounds good. That's like the user agreement that you signed in the beginning. And we are thinking about, other ways to maybe decentralize that experience for larger LPs. But, for now, that's kind of the best way to get things. If people want to leverage the AMM for themselves and earn fees, that's where we're happy to do that.
Yeah. So, and this is also perfect for your other project, Bound, because now you can come over here and put Bound in here, wrap it with some Bitcoin, have a Bitcoin Bound LP. And that could be awesome because someone like, potentially who doesn't want, they just want to go from Bitcoin to USDC back to Bitcoin. They're traders, right? This is actually a good opportunity for traders to take advantage of, a stable coin that you're not seeing anywhere else.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're definitely going to have, that's probably the next pool that we're targeting to have meaningful liquidity is going to be Bitcoin against BUSD. Getting some concentrated liquidity there so you can actually get some good trade execution and take advantage of some arbitrage. So that's definitely in the hopper for us coming up next.
That's going to be interesting. Yeah, because you guys are from the entity perspective, you're backing everything by mostly stable coins, but if someone wants to create and earn because people want to come in and out with their Bitcoin with stable and stuff, you're gonna have that option here as well. So that's awesome. I love it. What's the next thing that you guys are excited about, Bound or Radfi? Maybe you can talk a little bit about.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, pay attention for that Bitcoin against BUSD pool. That's, gonna be the next step in our proof of concept. Definitely follow us. There are things that I didn't talk about here that I am really excited about, even more so than that instant cross-chain swap, something very specific for the Bitcoin ecosystem. So, I'm really excited about what we have in the hopper. Give us a follow, Radfi_BTC on Twitter. Follow me, Benny_options. You'll recognize my background here, Bitcoin Puppet as the PFP. And that's going to be the best way to stay up to date with us.
Love it, man. Absolutely awesome, dude. I really appreciate you giving us your time and our viewers the time. I really hope let you guys take advantage of this. Really appreciate you building on Bitcoin, bro. I love saying that to people because like a lot of these builders, man, you can build anywhere. But you guys choose to build on Bitcoin. But I'd love to give you the stage one last time to talk to our audience. Any last words from you, Scott?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I gave it just before. I'll say Bitcoin is forever, man. That's why we're here. You know,
That's
that's why we're
awesome.
building here. Happy to be building on Bitcoin. You know, it's not going anywhere neither way.
Awesome. Great way to
Sounds
sign
great.
off for sure. And we'll talk to you soon, sir.
All right, take it easy, guys. Thanks again.
All right.
See you, bud.
Bye.
All right, all right. That was a fun little thing. I do have a few more things, if that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So we saw the announcement from the Black Runner, which is weird. That we heard it from the Black Runner here. But Trac's network Hypermall is coming May 15th. We do know that Hypermall is a Hypermall Hyperliquid type of model where you'll be depositing in. Not really a blockchain, they're saying, which is really weird. But yeah, I don't know about this one. What do you think about Trac's network Hypermall?
Well, what are you going to be able to do there? Is it just like trading
Swap.
tokens?
Very similar to what the guys from Bound, Scott, is doing with Radfi.
Gotcha. I imagine that it's going to be something else other than just a swap, right? Because, like, I mean, they have Taproot.
There's no leverage.
Yeah, interesting. Well, hey, look, I'm always open to test something out, and I'll probably do that. May 15th, so mid-May. I probably expect that to be probably May or June 15th, just because
July
you know
15th.
developers tend to like to push back a month or so from the date that they state.
Especially the Trac team. I mean,
Yeah.
it was. I remember when the swap was September, it was October, and then it was January. And I think we finally seen it around January. But yes, but we'll see. Not saying anything bad about Trac. I love Benny and what they're building, but they're always late with their promises, and yeah, I just don't know about this one. I definitely it's going to be a community thing for sure, depositing in the Hypermall and just making your swaps. But I mean, hey, it's building on Bitcoin, right? So,
Yep, building on Bitcoin for sure. I think there's a lot of people kind of trying to figure out what's going on with the validators and stuff like that as well. So, maybe some better communication probably be best because there's a lot of whales that got into those validators, man. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. Hopefully, it's a success, but only time will tell.
yeah, man, 100%. All right, the next thing here is so Opnet launched yesterday their testnet Bitcoin, and they are full L1. There is no depositing into this one. So let me just show this real quick, and I just want to get your opinion on it. So first thing you want to do is you have to create an op wallet. I created mine yesterday, and I'm going to log into my op wallet. Put my password in here.
That looks a lot like the Unisat interface.
It does. I mean, it's definitely a fork of Unisat for sure. So I'm logged in, right? I got my wallet up here. I'll show it. I did the faucet yesterday. I got some Bitcoin and then swapped for some Modo. The Bitcoin really isn't showing. Okay, the Bitcoin balance is up here and the Modo is down here. So I did some swaps yesterday, and I'll actually show you guys my activity. So yesterday I was able to get the faucet. My first swap, I swapped for some Modo. My second one, I swapped for more Modo. Then I staked my Modo. And then I did more swap for Modo, and then I did a more swap. So some of these are swap reservations and some of these are native swaps. I'm guessing maybe it depends on the Bitcoin block, on if it's a native swap or a swap reservation. Don't really know the difference between the two. But you come over here. I'll show you guys a live swap on how it works. Right now I have how much Bitcoin? Okay, so I'll just do this. I'll swap. So it's giving me 88 Modo for my 0.01 Bitcoin. I'll do the swap. It takes me to this really cool screen. It kind of lets me know what's going on here. 10 sats per VByte, 40% slippage, which is super high. I'm getting about $936 in Modo. So it doesn't look like slippage is happening here though, because I'm getting the same amount of worth from one to the other. And I'm going to start my reservation here, and it's going to pop up reservation in progress. And
reservation.
I'm going to sign it. Yeah, it's a really weird. I got to look more into it, but I guess it goes in the mempool,
and so it's not guaranteed. It's not
guaranteed.
You can get sniped.
You're reserving the transaction, but you can get sniped or pushed back, and it does reset all reservations after 145 blocks, which is 1 day.
Is that because of MEV?
I think so. Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
And then they do have this thing here. It's music because you have to wait the 10-minute blocks for Bitcoin. So they put a music
radio.
Yeah, you can change it. You can change it. You have all types of stuff here. I talked to them. I said, "Yo, can you put podcast in here?" And they were like, "Yeah, we can put podcast." So potentially you're gonna see maybe OnChain Revolution podcast. It'd be pretty cool. But you can do that. Yeah. So I was just checking this out and seeing this. It's pretty cool. But you see, kind of waiting here for the swap reservation to go through. But I did want to show you guys the stake. So right now I staked unstake. So I staked about 220 Moto so far. I've earned 2 tokens. I don't know what the tokens are. Okay, I earned Pill and I earned some Moto. Pill is like their I guess it's their meme coin here. But claim all rewards. So I'm gonna claim my rewards here. So yeah, so what's your opinion on this so far? Obviously it's testnet, but it is, you know, a Bitcoin testnet, so it is all happening on Bitcoin right now.
I don't know. I think I need to see a lot of promise first in terms of like follow through and stuff from these guys. I mean, it's just their history isn't the best. But hey, look, I'm all about giving second chances and stuff. So we'll see. Look, they were at ETH Denver last year, right? And they made a big splash. They were interviewed by Charlie from Bitcoin Season 2. At the time, I think it was something different. And caught the attention. They know how to either project manage or develop because they're able to roll these products out. So let's see what happens. I will try to keep an optimistic mindset with it. You know, they do have like a MEV component. I believe I remember hearing that as well to what they're building with their AMM, which, love that or not, like it's there for like Ethereum and EVM, and I think it's there for a reason. I think it's going to give people opportunity to make money with bots and stuff like that. But you can, you know, I think it's different because you don't notice it as much like on EVM because you're just swapping, right? And it doesn't tell you, oh, like you just got front ran. You just know it because you see it in like the transaction history, but you don't really care at the time. It's so like quick and easy. So maybe they make it like that. If that's the case, I don't think it'll be a big deal.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, we'll see, but this is
reservation part is weird though.
Well, I think the reservation part is just the transaction pushing the mempool, right? They're not like, I think that's just what it is. And then after, if there is no mempool and you don't have to wait, I think that it's called a natural swap or something. I'm not really sure. Definitely want to dig more in here, but this is pretty cool though. This is the Moto Chef. This is the farming. I just staked some Moto in here. I don't see an APY or anything yet. Maybe I missed it. Okay, here it is. 210% APY on Moto. 70. Oh, I have some pill. Let me stake my pill.
But do you have? Is it in testnet staking?
Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, this is just my testnet. Wow, everything in here is testnet. If you guys are interested in checking this out, potentially there's an airdrop. I don't know. I'm just kind of hoping, but you guys can make sure you guys download the Moto wallet and just start a new wallet. Put your words in. Don't put your old wallet in here. I mean, you're just using testnet anyway until mainnet comes. But potential airdrop, I don't know if it's for sure, but that's kind of reason why I'm messing with it. And yeah, we will see what comes from it. But definitely, I think we all just have to be, you know, very open to new ideas. And, you know, even if some teams failed in the past, you know, seeing what they do next. But they're still incorporating Moto, which is, you know, the swap that they created on Bitcoin Layer 1, but they're just doing it in a different way now with the Op wallet, and they keep building with it. So we will see. What happens next with these guys.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm, like I said, I'm open to giving second chances or like seeing what they can do with this. We'll just keep our eyes open and see what happens.
Yeah, man. Well, speaking of testnet, we can't really show what's going on without showing our boys over at Saturn. So I've been someone who's been testing Saturn for a while. I recently went back to the other day, had a little bit of issues, but today this is working phenomenal here. You know, I was just messing with it earlier. I'm gonna come over here. Let's go. Yes, let's get some of this. Let's go put in 005. All right, we'll submit that. It's actually really quickly. So look, it's the one sign. I do got to sign my password again.
So you have to sign. You have to sign it twice.
You have to sign it 3 times. Why is my password? Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure my password is correct here. What the hell? Oh, okay. Forgot to capitalize the letter. All right. Let me take it back now. All right. This is it. So sign it once, sign it twice, and then you got to sign it one more time. It popped on my other screen, but sign one last time. And transactions submit it. And I do have my new balance over here, so it's already in here. And then I'll trade that back to Bitcoin. Submit again. Same thing will happen. My wallet will pop up. Sign. I mean, it's quick though. It is 3 signatures. Sign, and then one last time. Boom, and then over here, transaction submitted. So it's working great. Saturn is up online, and it is working phenomenal. So they are ready. They're ready for mainnet, it looks like. So
yeah, and Hex came out. He's one of the founders of Saturn. Said, "Hey guys, exactly what Shizzy just showed." He didn't say these words exactly, but what he said was exactly how it's working on Testnet is how it will be working on mainnet. If that's the case, then I think we could be expecting a really good user experience there.
yeah.
Can you show what the pools are like? Because I know that's an interesting thing.
So there's only like 2 pools that are up, and because you can really take it on Testnet. You can really take advantage of the pool, especially because you can just go mint runes and then sell the runes for and get that Testnet Bitcoin. But obviously there won't be mint runes over there. This is just a Testnet thing, so you can trade. But yeah, so right now we're seeing about $14,000 in Jason Happy Ace, and $12,000 in Occupy. I don't know, something Bitcoin, and then not much on anything else. So these 2 are only the only ones that are worth trading over here if you're testing out. You can create a pool as well and add Testnet Bitcoin in here too. But
it says 5 pools. It says 5 pools there. Can you hit the drop down on the top right? No, if you go to the very top, if you scroll back up
here.
No, down in the right part. Go all the way to the right. No. The little arrows down there. They're right below that. Up.
Okay.
There you go. So
it just show. Okay. Yeah.
So this is different about them, right? Like you can kind of tier what pool you want to go into, and you earn a different amount. Yeah. So
so depending on what you want to do here, obviously the 1% you're going to get used first. But if you do choose the 4%, if they go through these 2, yours will be like your API. So if the fees more, right? So the fee 4% on your trade. So yeah, that's up to you. You can customize that. If you want, I can go. I don't even think you can go higher with that, but yeah, that's a decision that you got to make as an LP guy.
Is it? But is that because the higher you earn means that you lock it in a little bit, or what?
So you just get more fee. You get more fees. So let's just say like if you're swapping on my pool, I think the fee I earn is just higher, so you're paying more.
But why would you want to do that one? Because of price impact, maybe?
It won't ever. Yeah, the price impact 100%. That's
I
exactly
see what you're saying. That's weird.
It's your decision. It's your decision, right? But you won't get any. If these 2 are rocking, you won't get any, right? You're just kind of sitting there. But if the pool ever gets kind of wiped out, then you can start getting hit. So think of it that way. Think of it as just like this is kind of like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But you could be losing out on lots of fees and having to wait. But I think this will be different though on like coins with not a lot of liquidity, when you're just like, no, I'm risking my ass here. I want to earn a good portion.
Gotcha. That's where people will gamify this to where they can they're putting themselves in a good position as a liquidity provider, right? And stuff like that. So cool.
Yep. And the final thing I have here is 1inch has added support for Solana with plans to enable cross-chain swaps across 10 blockchains soon. My question is for you. 1inch is the ultimate aggregator. They were one of the biggest aggregators. They still are the biggest aggregator on ETH. Do you think they eventually start aggregating what we're doing over here on Bitcoin?
If Arch and the infrastructure continually builds out, I think so. Yeah. Like I was thinking early this morning when I first woke up about, the opportunities for the Bitcoin ecosystem. Because it is different than Solana. Solana's been this kind of like splash in everybody's face, like, okay, this is like the hot, like this is now, I want it now, that kind of mentality, greed, now, more, this.
Yeah.
But Bitcoin's like on-chain economy post kind of the collapse of Counterparty and that stuff in 15, 16, right? And it didn't completely collapse. I know Rare Pepes and all that stuff still exists. But my point is there was no robust on-chain economy until ordinals, let's be honest. That like didn't happen until 2023, and it was more of like a surprise, a pleasant surprise. Yes, it was like hype, but you know, I do think like the Bitcoin infrastructure is more of a marathon that can be really robust versus something that's like a really hard sprint like Solana was. And Ethereum was the hard sprint last cycle, right? So do I think that 1 inch eventually comes over? If that's true, yes. It might take them a little bit more time. But as you can see, like you know, more and more chains, environments, ecosystems are coming over here. I just think it's a matter of time as when.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, with them being Solana, I mean, Arch is, you know, Arch VM, right, which is a fork of. So I actually got corrected by Nick when I said this is a fork of Solana, because it's not a fork of Solana. It's a fork of what Solana forked. So there's another coding thing out there that Solana used, and they just used that same one. So it's not a direct Solana fork, but it's very similar to how Solana writes with the Rust and everything else. So potentially, if 1 inch is looking at Solana, that, you know, you're right, Arch could be something that they add on. And I didn't think about that. Arch could be easy for 1 inch to add up, since they already have Solana. So
yeah, and it's all about channels and plugs and stuff. And if you think about it, Arch could be that Rust, will be that Rust plug. You have like Merlin and the rest of the Bitcoin layer 2s for the EVM plug. You have Cardano straight plug there, ICP, Odin, Near coming out with RuneShot. All these plugs are going to be able to be the roadways, the highways for stuff like 1 inch, stuff like popular dApps and these other ecosystems. So we're already seeing it with wallets. You know, one of our new partners, Tokyo Wallet, coming over, Cardano, and then so exciting times, guys. Just be patient.
Man, well, yeah, be patient for sure. But amazing show, guys. 183 of you guys on YouTube and X, not to mention everyone on Abstract, Rumble, Twitch, and Spotify later. Really appreciate every single one of you guys. I mean, it is not an easy time to be in crypto, but it's about to get really easy, guys. I promise you that. We're going to have an amazing year. So you guys are early. You guys are the ones here, are the real ones, and we really appreciate you guys. And please share the space, share the link for our next live, and let's bring more people into crypto. Let's bring people on chain.
Yep. We appreciate the support so much, guys. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. And without our partners, we also couldn't do it. So if you could check out our partners, greatly appreciate it. Merlin Chain, #1 scaling solution for Bitcoin layer 1 assets and protocols. If you are a builder on Bitcoin and you want to scale, build on Merlin Chain. They have great builder support. We're in the middle of helping one of our partners kind of solidify something there. So we get to see it firsthand. If you are a Merlin Chain token holder, a Merl token holder, you can help secure the chain by staking in their proof of stake vault, and you earn 15% APR doing so. You can also swap on merlinswap.org for Doggo to the Moon. They have a great liquidity pool there. So go visit merlinchain.io for more information. Don't forget, they just got added to the Wrapped Bitcoin DAO fraternity pretty much, because it's really exclusive. So that's big for the branding there. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace of the Bitcoin ecosystem. All you need is a Bitcoin wallet, some Bitcoin, and 6 Bitcoin blocks, and you can start placing bets right away. Very, very soon, they're going to have the create your own markets option, to where you can earn up to 1% of the total volume. They're also going to have a kind of like a private style bet with friends, so you can bet who's going to win the next year's Super Bowl with like your 3 closest friends, stuff like that. Really amazing stuff coming. So check out betbtc.win to learn more there. And then Emblem Vault, they're going to be the #1 interoperability tooling for Bitcoin ordinals on Bitcoin layer 1. You're going to be able to jump your node monks, puppets, frogs from Bitcoin layer 1 to Merlin Chain to Base, Abstract, eventually Solana. You're going to be able to use their AI agent Hustle to be able to help you vault those ordinals and help you make trades on Bitcoin eventually. Right now, you can use them for Solana trades as well. Conditional trading is coming very, very soon. So they just teamed up with AI XBT. So they're making big, waves over in the AI sector. Don't forget about their Bitcoin Rune. That's going to be TGE launching in September of this year. You're going to be able to participate in a pre-sale right now on OpenSea in a ERC 721 format. Once the TGE comes over, they'll give you instructions as long as you have that NFT to be able to put the runes in your Bitcoin wallet. Go to emblem.vision to learn more. And then Artura.finance, the perps and leverage DEX of the Bitcoin ecosystem. You're going to be able to swap synthetic Bitcoin fungibles, guys, like Sats, Ordi, Doggo the Moon, $Billion Cat, Pups, Bro Bear, all those types of popular Bitcoin synthetic tokens, as well as popular tokens outside of the ecosystem like XRP, Ethereum, and Tau. So really exciting stuff from this team. We have them on every Tuesday with the live AMA at 12 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you catch those. And then you can also earn passively if you provide liquidity to the platform as well. So go to Artura.finance to learn how you can participate in their ecosystem. And then Fluid tokens. These guys started off on Cardano. They're right now back at Draper Labs, and they're constantly just building for, expanding the Bitcoin ecosystem. Started on Cardano, still on Cardano, building on Bitcoin. They have added to their team. They're doing huge things. The first to offer retail staking vaults on Bitcoin Layer 1. If you are a project founder, an ordinal collection, or you etched a rune and you have an established community, head over to their Discord, get connected. They'll show you how to start a Bitcoin Layer 1 staking vault. So super, super exciting stuff from this team, guys. They're going to have more and more updates. Their aquarium is just about ready. So you're going to be able to bridge the Fluid token, FLDT, which is a Bitcoin rune, to Cardano for their Fluid Cardano token. It's back 1-to-1, guys. So they have that solution just about ready. Visit fluidtokens.com to get more insight on what they have there. And then our latest partner, Tokyo Wallet, which in my opinion is the most advanced mobile wallet in general, that I've messed with in the UTXO ecosystems. They started on Cardano as well, expanded to Bitcoin, and they're going to expand even further to Sui soon, and possibly more. But you're going to be able to use your Apple Pay, your Google Pay to actually get into onboard with Bitcoin. And they've teamed up with Sats Terminal. So with that Bitcoin, you can swap for $1 Billion Cat, for Doggo to the Moon, all the popular runes. You can get alpha directly from there, from yours truly. Shizzy and I, they actually have OnChain Revolution on their alpha section, but they have the big boys too. We're getting there, but like cryptos are us, stuff like that with George and all those type of channels as well. So make sure you go to the Apple Store, just give it a download, test it out, give us some feedback, let us know, and we'll pass it on to the team. And lastly, don't forget about Foxy AI and Ordinal Hive, which are our integrated partners. Foxy AI does every Tuesday a live stream with us at 3 p.m. Eastern with their Cypher Tracker. We had a live stream last night. I was rusty, I'm not going to lie, but I did get maybe one or a couple of kills in there. But very, very fun. They have some big news either later this week or early next week for an announcement you want to listen to. Make sure you're following them because they got big stuff coming in. And Ordinal Hive as well, aggregator ordinal marketplace. You're going to find the cheapest ordinals around on Bitcoin Layer 1 and Layer 2. And their mempool insights to where you can snag something that was mispriced as well. So they have really great trader tools there. We appreciate you guys so much for supporting us and checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job, man, as always. And if you guys wouldn't mind, please check out onchainrevolution.io. We have some of the best articles dating all the way back to last year. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel like it can help them get started and code up to where we are today. We have this brand new Tokyo wallet here, guys. Go get that Tokyo wallet. Go get it. Go download it on iOS. I have it on my phone. It's great. And they're going to have Sui soon, but right now they have Cardano and Bitcoin. You can trade runes with the using Sats Terminal there, right on in the wallet. Definitely want to be holding your runes in your Tokyo wallet for sure. And guys, if you guys need a VPN, I highly recommend a NordVPN. I use it every day. Yesterday, I was having some problems and I was like, crap, is there malware on my computer? Nord was actually helped me figure out that there was none. They have a really cool feature where it scans your whole computer for malware, and I have none. So that's pretty cool. Definitely cool feature. But on top of that, privacy is an important thing. You don't want to go to these sites and be giving them your IP. Your IP can lead to your home address. You don't want that. I don't want that. Just don't do it. Just get a VPN, use Nord. And use our link as well. If you guys are going to Bitcoin at 2025 Las Vegas, my Nord is actually taking away the link here because I have it on today. But if you go to our website, you'll see it real big here. you'll see the Bitcoin Las Vegas tickets. If you are interested in that, definitely click that link. It's May tomorrow, guys. They're gonna get more and more pricey as it gets closer. So your choice to wait, but definitely get your tickets through us and use our link. And if you need merch for that event or any event, you probably have enough time to order today to get it on time. But we have some of the best merch in all of ordinals and crypto, period. This shirt right here is going away. It's your last opportunity. We're going to take it away this weekend. It'll be gone, out of stock, never again to be sold through OnChain Revolution. So get it, and you'll be an OG in the Ordinal Revolution. But the OnChain Revolution shirts are coming. We're going to have a whole bunch of add-ons and stuff potentially this weekend, if not next. But definitely check out everything here at onchainrevolution.io. And guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear track. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction.